Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakthrough Moment podcast. I'm Zac Deane, and special guest Alexander Ford is here. Alexander, thank you for jumping on today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's going to be an amazing interview. Just having a bit of a chat with you prior, I'm so ready for all these amazing questions and to introduce you to everyone. So for those of you who are joining the podcast for the first time, the Breakthrough Moment podcast is interviewing successful entrepreneurs, and they share their pivotal moment in their career that broke them into the next level of success. And as they share their breakthroughs, us at home can have breakthroughs as well. So let me do a quick introduction and then let's jump into your breakthroughs. So for those of you who don't know Alexander is an entrepreneur who's built and rebuilt multi-million dollar companies after earning and losing millions by following other people's blueprints. He's discovered that most entrepreneurs don't fail because of strategy. They fail because they're following the lives that they don't actually want, that they're filling their lives with things that they don't actually want. And so through behavioral psychology, Alexander helps business owners spot the difference between pain that drains and pain that grows. He's managed teams of 30 plus people, lived through the highs and lows, and now teaches science-backed methods to help entrepreneurs sell with confidence, avoid burnout, and actually love the business that they're building. So welcome to the show, and let's start off with your biggest breakthrough. Super curious. Over to you.
Oh God, my biggest breakthrough actually happened reasonably recently. As of the time of this recording, it is September of 2025. And in March of 2025, I hosted a birthday party in Dallas, and invited 11 of my closest friends to come hang out with me and have some fun and go to Meow Wolf, which is a really cool sort of psychedelic inspired art installation type of like hidden world puzzle space. And we did a bit of masterminding at this birthday party, as we tend to do. And I was in a rough spot. I was in a super rough spot. I have run a marketing agency for well, just over a decade. And before that, I ran an IT services business for employee-based companies in Calgary, Alberta, where I was born and raised. And my marketing agency was designed to serve and support online entrepreneurs. So coaches, service providers, that type of thing. And over the course of my career, we've probably built 3,000 or 4,000 funnels. We've run every type of marketing campaign you can imagine. My team was totally vertically integrated. So we would help develop the offer, we would write the copy, we would build out the infrastructure and automation, we would design the web pages, we would film and edit the video. Like we would basically, on an a la carte basis, be responsible for the marketing outcomes of the businesses that would hire us. And for a long time, my story was that this was like a super valuable service because the pain point that I thought I was solving was that I would look at these entrepreneurs and see that they were struggling to manage either multiple different specialists within their team, like it was difficult to hire a bunch of great team members, or it was also really difficult to hire a bunch of different independent consultants or independent service providers who didn't really want to get along, right? My story at the time was the Facebook ads guy wants to sell you Facebook ads, the video editor wants to sell you a world-class video, the web developer says you need a brand new brand and a whole new website, and the copywriter's telling you that the Frank Kern or old style long form direct response sales pages are the best way to convert, and the designer would hate it, and then the video guy would say there needs it, and it would just be like a cacophony of voices in the mind of the entrepreneur, which by the way hasn't changed. Like our industry is still built on a cacophony of various opinions, with everyone else packaging their offer as the next big thing that's definitely going to save your business. And I was watching entrepreneurs really, really struggle, like to navigate, like, what do I buy? When do I buy it? In what order do I buy it? What campaign do I run? What's the next thing that works? And so I was like, oh, I'm brilliant. I'll hire all of the people. You'll hire me. I will manage a world-class team of experts. I will be your CMO, and I will effectively do my best to wheelbarrow money and dump it into your backyard so that you can do your magic trick, which is like really what most entrepreneurs really want. They've got a gift, they've got something special, they feel that their service has this tremendous value, and they're just like, could someone just please market me? Could someone just please sell for me so I can do the thing that I love? And it was extremely painful. It was so painful to like navigate that process because in retrospect, and this is entirely looking backwards, I can now see that the issue with what it is that I was selling was sort of like helping these customers be saved. Like they really were hoping someone will come along and just help them avoid a key area of entrepreneurial development, which is stepping into the identity of being the marketer. If I had a dollar for every time one of my clients said, like, I'm not a copywriter, I'm not a marketer, you're the marketer, figure it out. Like, I'd have at least $200. And I was really feeling burnt out and stressed and frustrated. Probably over my 10-year career, we would churn 200, 250 clients in that period. Like we would just churn clients. I probably had, 5 to 10 clients that lasted longer than 2 or 3 years, like clients that stuck and were really wanting to do the inner work and to be the leader in their business and be the one who makes good choices. But the other 245, consciously or unconsciously, we're really hoping to avoid unnecessary transformation of identity or a responsibility that would help them get the thing that it is that they wanted. And so I took all of this on. Like my livelihood depended on them getting the fantasy result that they thought they wanted, that they were never going to get because the universe has this strange way of making sure we none of us get to avoid our growth. And so I was always sort of going to be screwed, and they were always sort of going to be screwed. But because I had like tied my livelihood to them being successful, like it was feast or famine all the time. It was like up and down, up and down, up and down. And I was just like redlined and doing my best to figure it out. And I just like was really struggling. So back to this birthday party in Cabo, I'm, contemplating like this new set of frames that I had been given by a mentor, Garrett J. White. I attended one of his 3-day live events, and he really shifted some models of thought for me into some new language that had a lot of resonance. One of them was that each of us needs to be the one that our clients need us to be, that each of us needs to be the marketer, each of us needs to be the closer, each of us needs to be the leader that our clients need, not their savior. And so I was like in this contemplation of what that meant for me. And I had also recently attended an event led by my good friend Alex Moscow, which was focused on running small events and producing sales for high ticket products. And I've been in the event space for a long time. Side note, like I've supported a number of world-class entrepreneurs to run a 3-day live sales event, to run a 3-day virtual event. I built a world-class television studio in my office for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to produce world-class events. Like I've got this really beautiful infrastructure and this amazing ability to produce these events. So I've been in the event space for a long time. And I was contemplating, like what if I were the one in my own life and instead of being a marketer for clients that I didn't want to help, selling stuff I didn't want to sell, doing work I didn't really want to be doing, if I were the marketer in my own life, what would I do? And the answer that was true for me is that I would birth a coaching program and I would put a 3-day live virtual event on my calendar and I would buy stages and I would speak on those stages and I would sell tickets to this 3-day live event and I would make 6 or 7 figures. That was like, of all the things I have learned across my entire lifetime in marketing in the coaching space, that's what I would do. And so at my birthday party, Jay Fizette was there and I'm doing a hot seat and I'm working through my emotions and I'm working through my frustration. I'm working through this potential choice. And he says to me, Alexander, you are an Olympic level boxer as it relates to coaching. You are probably one of the best coaches I've ever met. And he's been in the personal development space for 40 years. He's had 12,000 students come through his doors. He's been in the online marketing coaching space for another 20 years. Like he's met a lot of coaches. His opinion means a lot to me. And he said, and that's even with both of your hands tied behind your back. We need to untie your hands and put on some gloves. And you need to get into the ring like you want to be there. And like in that moment, I was like, I would rather die and burn my entire life to the ground than spend another day being someone different than who I want to be. and it's scary as all hell. Like I was like, this is a terrifying transition, but I was like, fine, I'll listen. And so in that moment, I made the choice to step into the identity of coach. It was an identity choice. It wasn't a choice into a new behavior. It wasn't a choice into a new belief. It was a choice to adopt a new identity of Alexander, the coach. And so since March of 2025, I have dismantled my agency. I've let go every client, including my longest term client, who's paid me $200,000 per year for the last 5 years. And I birthed my 3-day live event. I bought several stages. I spoke on those stages. I sold 85 tickets. I had 50 people show up. My retention rate was 95%, and I sold 3 times the expected rate, which is 3 times the average sales volume at a 3-day virtual event, into my new accelerator program, which is a year-long coaching container for entrepreneurs that want to be in the identity, making decisions around their nature, creating a life that they want instead of a life they should live to earn some future reward, and who really want to be the CEO of their life and their business. And we made $350,000, and I have now 28 students in my program. And so in less than 6 months, I just completely transformed my identity, transformed my business, transformed my life. And um, I've been demonstrating in real time the principles and the frameworks that I'm delivering to my students in my program. So I'm dog fooding the work, uh, which I believe is like the necessary frame for us to have a healthy relationship, which is like I'm asking you to do what I'm doing, not do what I say. So that's the biggest one.
That is an amazing breakthrough. Freaking love that. That's the identity, changing that into a coach. What was your identity before that?
Like entrepreneur, like agency owner, CEO, marketer for others.
All right. So the interesting thing there that I noticed is you spoke about identity, and this is what they say apparently, and let me know if I'm wrong, is that one of the strongest factors in our behavior every single day is how we view ourselves. And so as a behavioral expert, can you help us understand what change does that actually do physiologically or psychologically? How come the definition of I was an entrepreneur or marketer and now I'm a coach, like how does that actually translate into results for people?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different language and ideas around how it is we come to create our reality. Um, One of my favorite ideas is that each of us is a powerful creator. And there's like, various religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs. But like to keep things simple, um, we can hopefully agree that there's some kind of process by which things become things. There's some process by which humans end up creating outcomes, creating experiences, creating businesses, creating relationships, creating the outcomes that we desire. There's some process by which that occurs. And so in in that, I think it's then fair to say we could theoretically do a science project and try to like reverse engineer how exactly does the human capability for creation work? How can I become more of a powerful creator in terms of creating a life that I want? And so one of the pillars of how creation comes to occur is, in very simple terms, with language. We use language to construct our ideas, we use language to communicate with one another. And the way we use our language provokes not just like the exchange of information. Like right now, I'm speaking to you and we're exchanging information. But I also have the capability by selecting my language to elicit or to help you experience feelings and have a somatic experience that is different than what you were experiencing before. And we can experience this in our own body too. For example, we could try on like the idea that I should take care of my body. And if we affirm that statement to ourselves, then what will happen is there will be some kind of physiological response if we choose to listen to it. And if we were to say something like, I'm being curious about, or I'm learning to communicate with and to take care of my body, there will be a different felt somatic experience and like emotional tenor to the language, to the response of the body to the language that we use for the mind. And so we now know that like we use language to communicate information. There's some type of system for translating what it is that I might want into an actual creation. And we know that if we shift our language, we can create different somatic experiences or feelings in the body based on the words that we select. And so um, David Bayer actually has a really great model. It's super simple. And um, he basically creates a circle. And he starts at the top with beliefs, and he says beliefs will lead to effectively thoughts. Thoughts provoke feelings. Feelings produce actions, and then actions will create results. And generally speaking, over long enough periods of time, the results that are created will tend to reinforce or validate the belief that started the cycle. And so on the woo side of the equation, we're basically saying our beliefs creates our results. Like by believing it, I'm manifesting that. And the results are going to always validate the belief, whether or not we like that we have the belief. So I'll circle back to that one in a second, but just to plant the seed there, whether or not we like that we have the belief doesn't change the fact that the belief exists. Now, how most people perceive they change results is in the step immediately prior to the outcome, which is the action. People will try to change their body composition by changing their behavior around food. They try to change the actions they're taking. They try to govern themselves with a diet. They try to increase their exercise routine. People like think in business that if they want a different result in terms of amount of money, then what they need to do is they need to do more marketing they don't want to do, or they need to do more sales calls they don't feel inspired to do, or they need to hire a person they don't really want to manage, or any other number of things that, Alex Hormozy would tell you to just suffer through and get it done. But the reality is that it's unsustainable to attempt to change an action in order to shift results when your actions are undermined by the thoughts and the feelings generated by the belief that lead to it, because we're only so conscious. So we can attempt to consciously override our automatic behaviors, but our automatic behavior will always win in the long term. There's another model for this, which is John DeMartini's value system, which is a way of observing our own behavior and reverse engineering what our behavior demonstrates is truly important to us. And we can reveal that, there's certain things that we live and breathe and that are truly meaningful. And any attempt to act outside of those values, any attempt to act in a way that is not clearly connected to those values, we'll be able to do for a short time, but not for a long time. We will always revert to our natural order. And so I like to call this our nature. And it's both kind of shocking and also comforting because, like, for people who are desperate for a high quality decision making framework, looking sort of outwards into the world for guidance for what it means to make the right call, to make a good decision, like, do I optimize around money? Do I optimize around efficiency? Do I optimize around what I think will make other people happy? Do I optimize around morals and ethics? Do I optimize around like what I think God might want? Like, what do I optimize around? And all of it is kind of shaky because humans are going to human, and anytime you look outwards, basically what you're orientating your decisions around is just what some other person thinks they might want, which is almost never what they want. And that's why when we make those types of decisions, we're always kind of upset about it because it wasn't on firm ground and we always kind of knew it, but we're looking for certainty and security. So we are sort of like desperate and clinging to this idea that there must be a way to make a good decision. Well, I believe the way to make great decisions is orientated around our nature, because our nature, we have the power to change it, but at any given moment, it's immutable and it's true. There's a truth in our nature. If in any moment I'm in inquiry and I'm able to ask and listen and find my own answer, and they're in there, it's just a matter of whether or not you're patient enough or diligent enough or courageous enough to listen, then there is actually like a cornerstone framework, a cornerstone essence that if we make decisions around it will generally result in us having a more fulfilling, not less fulfilling life. We will be rewarded in a way that it brings us meaning, happiness, joy, love, inspiration, enthusiasm, gratitude, presence, like whatever it might be. And, all right, so if it is true that we have a nature, if it's true that we have a hierarchy of values that demonstrates what's truly meaningful to us, and if it's true that that serves as a foundation upon which we create these things called beliefs, and beliefs provoke thoughts and feelings that lead to actions that produce results that reinforce those beliefs, and we cannot successfully override our results simply by changing our actions, and our actions don't change our beliefs. Then how do we gain command over sort of transforming the outcomes and the results that we're creating in our business or creating in our relationships or creating in our life in a tangible and successful way? So what David Bayer says is that what we can do is we can recontextualize beliefs as decisions made in the past by a version of us who applied meaning or a story to a circumstance based on our perceptions at the time about how that circumstance affected our life. That's the model that he provides. Now, in simple terms, what I believe that means is that if we've decided, for example, that um, we need to be quiet in order to navigate around apparently threatening environments, and it's better to sort of quiet down than speak up and risk being yelled at or attacked or something like that, then what we'll do in our life is we'll more or less then be programmed to have a sense of vigilance, to be looking at our environment for threat, and to quiet down our voice if those threats get too loud. And that'll play out in a bunch of different ways. And we'll collect evidence that we're overlooked. We'll collect evidence that other people are more important for us. We'll collect evidence like for a variety of things. And that leads me back to the foundation of what it looks like to be a powerful creator. And I believe that first and foremost, the way that we contextualize and tell stories about our life, about our experiences, and the meaning that we derive from the narration that we apply to our history, and how that sets us up for our desires and the stories we tell about what we might want and what we might desire and what we might love to create in the future, is constrained by our willingness, our courage, and our capability to recontextualize the narratives in the past and bring color and flavor and texture to the potential narratives in the future. In our own mind, first and foremost, but then more importantly, in the minds of our customers, in the minds of our partners, in the minds of our team, in the minds of our friends. And so at the root of any of those stories is the person who is telling them. The one who is telling the story is the root of any story. So if I wake up in the morning and I say, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I am a student and I'm going to tell you a story," I'm going to tell you a very different story than if I wake up in the morning and I say, "Hi, my name is Alexander and I am a marketer and I'm now going to tell you a story." Which is a very different story than, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I am a health and longevity and sleep um like enthusiast and I'm going to tell you a story." Or, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I'm a sexual being and I'm going to tell you a story." And in fact, I think if we were to go back in the edit, my tone of voice changed. Every single one of those identities had a different texture, a different emotional nuance. And from that identity, every story would be totally different. And it's as subtle as, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I'm a marketer," versus, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I'm the marketer." "Hi, I'm Alexander and I'm a leader," versus, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I'm your leader," right? They're totally different things. And so I've laid some foundation and we can sort of go in any direction that you might be curious about. But the root around the identity piece is that it serves as the foundation. So like if we're wanting to, for example, make more money in business, one of the identities that I've been talking to a bunch of entrepreneurs about this over the last couple months because this identity frame showed up for me while Hormozy was doing his launch. I go into rooms and I hear entrepreneurs go, "Hi, I'd love more leads. I'm trying to figure out how to get more sales. I think I need a new application process. I want to figure out how to retain my customers long." They're asking all these questions. And I woke up sort of in Alex Hormozy's Money Models launch, and I was like, Alex Hormozy identifies as someone who loves making money. And for the first time, I had not considered an independent identity affirmation as, "Hi, I'm Alexander, and I make tons of money. I am one who loves making money," as an identity. I've done all the proxy stuff. I've done savings, I've done lead gen, I've done marketing, I've hired team members, I've delegated tasks, all the things that may or may not lead to money. I've had all types of fun with all of those identities. But as an example of another new identity that I've been trying on lately is, "Hi, I'm Alexander and I love money. Can we talk about how you may want to give me money? Could we have a conversation about how it might actually be really fun and cool for you to pay me so I can help you? Like, can we have a money identity focused conversation in addition to all the other conversations?" And so I'm literally laying on the floor in this room down the hall with my friend in a medicine journey the other night. And I'm working through some of these ideas and I'm like, "Yeah, like this is da 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 da." And he goes, "Yeah, I want to give you more money." And I'm like, that's the programming. I took on the identity. I created the story around the identity. Like, what does that identity want? What does a person with the intrinsic love for the creation of money think and feel? How does he act? What does he do? Who does he talk to? What questions does he ask? And then I started to have those conversations with people in my life, and they started to go, "I would love to give you money. Can we talk about that?" And you talk to entrepreneurs all the time. They're all like skirting around the identity of being one who loves to make money. But it's a really cool sort of portal into how just like adopting, like, how would that person think and feel? What would they say? What would they do? Well, they would certainly tell different stories. They would ask different questions and they would create different programming in the minds of their customers. That's what would happen.
So glad you went there with this because that is that's like fundamental. Number one, okay, you want these results? Well, come back to what is the psychology, what is the identity. But no one's ever said what you just said to me before. Is they've you having that realization whilst watching the webinar with Alex Hormozy? He does. He absolutely loves making money. He can tell it
It's his
just through
favorite
and
thing in the
through.
whole world. He is the
Right.
current example of the guy who has like that identity. Like Elon Musk has lots of money, but he doesn't wake up in the morning thinking, "How do I make money?" He wakes up in the morning thinking like, "How do we get off the planet?" Right? He's in a different identity. So that identity has led to money, right? And so there's lots of identities that can lead to money. But like as an example, Hormozy is one who loves money in and of itself. He wants to play the game to win money, and he's winning.
For sure.
Good
He's
for him.
definitely winning. So I'm curious and what I was picking up from what you're putting down is coming back to someone's true nature is the fast lane towards abundance in their life, whether that be success or money or relationships or health. It's getting back to that authenticity piece. Is that correct? That's what you're mentioning, right?
Yeah, so abundance is a weird word because like the reality is that most people don't have the programming, most people don't have the beliefs, and most people don't have the identity for abundance. Which by the way was another significant transformation that I had in another container. Um which was the affirmation like I am abundance versus I am abundant versus I want abundance. Like there's edges to those sort of ideas that are subtle shades, and um the idea that like if I were abundance and I were abundant, how would I behave is a whole different story than like how do I get abundance, or how do I deal with abundance, or how do I handle my constraints or my emotions of like lack of abundance or whatever, my scarcity trauma, like all the stuff that people sort of think about as it relates to abundance. And so like that story has some interesting flavors to it. So when I started to try on the identity of being abundance in and of itself, forms of abundance started to show up in ways that were really surprising to me. So, like for example, like rubbing my girlfriend's back became an expression of abundance. I was like on the couch and I was like, there's times where it's like if I'm stressed or I'm feeling under pressure, I have a macro calling to serve her, but a micro like shame type of relationship with like I don't feel in my power and my strength to take care of you, so this feels more like a burden than something that I truly want to do. Even though I want to do it, it's like there's some friction in the interaction. And when I was playing with this identity of abundance, I was like, oh, I'm abundance. I can, sure, I'll rub your back for as long as you want. Like it was such a weird way to contextualize the idea. But that's one of the cool things about how these identity frames recontextualize existing narratives and change the color, flavor, texture, and feeling around the patterns that are already happening in our lives. But back to your question, like, does living in alignment with our nature lead us to abundance? In the form that we value, yes. Living in alignment with our nature leads us to the form of abundance we truly value, which may not be the form of abundance we think is going to save us, or that we think is going to solve our problems, or that we think is going to unlock all of what we want in the future, which is generally money. People generally connect abundance to money, which is why I'd rather just talk about money than abundance, because it's like, if you want to have a conversation about money, let's have a money conversation. Because abundance can be all forms, and in fact, abundance is all things. And if you really want to get to the root of it, God is abundance and God is everywhere, and I am God. So therefore, I'm missing and lacking nothing. And any story to the contrary is to effectively create scarcity in my life because I want that scarcity to fulfill whatever programming or beliefs or identity it is that I'm carrying, probably as a strategy to get something else I think I want. So, like, humans are tricky. And you can be abundant in scarcity too, and God will provide it if you want it. And a lot of people seem to want it, and so there's an opportunity for narrative rewriting there. But let's go in a different direction, which is what does it look like to align with our nature, and what does aligning with our nature truly unlock? And I want to lead us to a model or an identity frame, which is that transformation can only be accessed in the truth. So, commonly what people believe is that if they transform, then they'll get what they think is true for them. So they make transformation the root and they make other things the fruit. If I transform, I'll get more money. If I transform, I'll get more sex. If I transform, I'll get more adoration in my physical body. Like if I fix my body, then I'll be lovable. If I fix my business, then my dad will love me. If I like figure out how to be rich, my woman will stay with me. Like it's like we put the transformation at the root. I need to change my life so that I can get the thing on the other side. The thing about that is, and I alluded to it much earlier in the podcast, is that we invest a tremendous amount of time and energy and resources in circumnavigating a potential belief or a potential truth that we would really prefer not be true. Okay. So what I mean by that is like we may actually believe, for example, I'll share one about me. So I was at a retreat last weekend and we were in a journey and I was asked a question like, what do I most need to shift in order to move forward? And for whatever reason, what came to me was the idea of I'm a burden. Like I had this like thought, like I'm a burden. And the next question was, who are you a burden to? And the answer to that was my father. And so in this moment, it's still true for me. Like that provokes feelings of like sadness. Like it wells up in my stomach and I want to like congest and I can like create tears in my eyes. And for most people who have not developed the meta skill of moving into their feelings, facing and feeling their feelings, who are afraid of their anger, afraid of their sadness, afraid of their frustration, afraid of their terror, afraid of their shame, afraid of their guilt, afraid of their sexual energy, like afraid of happiness. Some people are afraid of happiness or just afraid in their feelings. Then they won't want to turn towards the feeling. The thing is, our feelings are not bottomless, and inside our feelings is encoded information which unlocks our truth. And so, especially in the personal development world, what people will do is they will attempt to do a runaround on a true belief by attempting to immediately invalidate the belief. So what you'll commonly see in the personal development world is, okay, well, Alex, if you're a burden, let's just immediately start exploring how you're a blessing. Let's just like flip it to the opposite. Like, well, how are you a blessing? Let's just not even look at how you're a burden. Like, why do we even need to go there? That's a bad thing. Let's not go into it. But here's the thing. I chose that belief. I made a decision to step into that belief at some point in my history because I thought it was going to get me what I wanted. And in fact, it has been getting me exactly what I want my entire life, because as long as any belief is true, it's a narrative that I've created to fulfill something important to me. And so therefore, if the first thing I do is attempt to change, transform, or invalidate it, I'm not recognizing the narrative and the storytelling and the true desire and identity underneath it. And therefore, I'm basically attempting to put a part of myself into exile without curiosity and love. But no part wants to be exiled, and no part wants to be unloved. And so it will fucking battle you to the death. It will not leave. And so the only real option we have, which some people will eventually submit to, like there's a theme of submission here, which is like submitting to the belief you're terrified of, submitting to the truth that scares the shit out of you, submitting to the emotion that you don't want to feel. I'm going to encapsulate all of that idea all of those ideas into the affirmation that is to tell the truth. The truth in this moment is I am a burden. That's the truth. I have the capability to create any story I like, but in this moment, just this moment, that's the truth. And instead of trying to change the truth, the invitation that I'm making is to step into the truth, to face and feel the emotions that come with that truth. And by moving into it as deeply as I can with curiosity and with courage and with reverence and with love and with presence and in meditation, I get to gain access to the information and the revelation that is encoded within that truth and discover within it what it is that I'm truly wanting and what it is I'm truly creating. And that unlocks transformation. And as far as I can tell so far, nothing but that unlocks transformation. However, the transformation is inevitable. It's not then something I need to do. It's like by moving into the truth, the transformation occurs automatically. It's like you stare into it and it evaporates and it unlocks power and potential. There was energy stored in that. And so that is an identity. I am a burden is an identity. And until I learn to love and appreciate that identity and everything it's done to serve me, I don't have the option to just simply select a new one. But I get to discover the transformation of that identity when I step into it and through it. And that is what it looks like to explore and be curious about my nature. That's what that means. That's what I mean by nature. So, as I am in this space of being a burden, what I'm uncovering is some really interesting stuff, which I'm now affirming and communicating in a very conscious and powerful way. For example, I want to be taken care of, like deeply. And actually, what I'm learning is we all do. Like, we all want to be taken care of. I want to be nurtured. I want to be valued. I want to be appreciated. I want to be invested in. I want to be seen as a positive return on investment. I want to be cherished. I want to be loved. I want to be doted on. I want to be adored. Like, so much of what it means to be a burden means to be guilty for wanting all of those things. That's what being a burden means. I'm sorry I want to be taken care of. I'm sorry I want to be doted on. I'm sorry I want your money. And if you feel like a burden and you're apologetic for wanting money, how are you ever going to get it? So this magical transformation is happening and it's showing up in the form of desire. This identity that I've been carrying is one way of expressing desire. It just was showing up in the language, I'm sorry for wanting this. But the transmutation that's now occurring is, I want this. And that's the magic, because now what I get to do is I get to wake up in the morning and I get to say, hey, I'm Alexander and I'm a person who loves being cared for. Like, if you want to give me money and take care of me, I'm going to fucking give you the world. I'm going to fucking think about you and I'm going to love on you and I'm going to take care of you back. And that creates the opportunity for a very healthy relationship, a very healthy business interaction, because now I'm no longer creating all these covert contracts, like secretly resenting you for not taking care of me, but I've created the identity that necessitates me being resentful because I feel guilty that I want to be taken care of. And I also feel hateful that you don't want to give it to me because you don't want to give me something you think I feel guilty about receiving. So it's all broken. But all of that comes out of the willingness to step into the truth. And so to the degree that we step into the truth about these beliefs we don't like, the truth about the beliefs we do like, the truth about who we truly are, and we begin to make decisions around that by being honest about what it is that we want, then we can approach life from a very different perspective. What marketing would I love to do instead of what marketing do I have to do that I hate? Well, who would I love to hire instead of who do I need to hire to save me from work I don't want to do? Who would I love to serve? Like I was working with some people yesterday and they're like, I'm just not sure who in the market to target. And I'm like, don't go target some ephemeral concept of a customer. Look through the 500 people you already have relationship with and go one by one and ask yourself the question, would I love to serve that person? And then go have a conversation with them that starts with the sentence, I would love to help you, and see where that conversation goes. Because the identity of, hi, I'm Alexander, I'm a coach, and I would love to be your coach is a very different conversation than, oh my God, will you please give me money so I can maybe coach you in a service I don't really want to be selling because I'm not even sure if I want to help you. Like it's like we've got all these foundationally broken narratives, and fortunately or unfortunately, it's these narratives that form our reality. It's the narrative you implant in the minds of your customers that tell them how to behave. It's the narratives you implant in the mind of your wife or your spouse that tells you how to behave. It's the narratives you implant in the minds of your friends that tell them how to behave. And as you plant seeds in their minds, they will help to co-create the outcome of those seeds that you've planted. So if you're planting seeds called, I want to be cared for, but I feel guilty, they're going to refer back to you, you should feel guilty for me taking care of you. Because as we're imprinting these stories on the minds of each other. And so if you want more, if you want to be more, if you want to explore more power and more potential, the path to that is to really comprehend that the narratives you've created in the tapestry of your mind and the tapestries of those minds that you can influence, because you're either willing or unwilling to face and turn towards your truth and access what's truly true for you, is the number one constraint in your life in terms of creating any type of life that you might like. So
This is gold. So that's how it works. This is interesting. Understanding, how you think, and it's all based on science. And I can totally resonate with everything you're saying, whether it's the burden, whether it's the belief systems, whether it's the stepping into truth. What do they say? The truth shall set us free. That's that makes total sense now.
but they don't say the truth that you like will set you free.
True. But
It's
here's the thing, Alexander. It's easy for you to say you've been doing this for countless decades. I've got a family, I've got bills, I've got a massive team, I'm putting out fires daily for my business. How do I get past this? I'm stuck in the hamster wheel of my business. Our marketing isn't improving, our sales aren't improving. We might need to close the doors. Are you saying, like, how do I really change this? Because I need to make some change now. I need results now. What would you say to that person?
yeah. So the urgency compulsion. I'm like, and again, this comes from my own experience. Like, I eat my own dog food. I've had the urgency story my whole life. Like, we need to make $1,000 in the next 8 minutes, or everyone's gonna die. Like, I get it. I get it. I've been I'm gonna tell another story. So one of my clients and best friends, his name is Nima. Um, he and I have worked together for 12 years. We've really like grown up together. We're both also students of John DeMartini. We were at a retreat. It's starting to sound like all I do is go to retreats. I run a lot of retreats. I go to a lot of retreats. I spend a lot of time in inquiry and deep thinking, and I enjoy it. We're laying out under the stars in the backyard at this house in Salt Lake City, and two of my other friends are there. Nima is a coach in the relationship space, so he helps people create polarized dynamics. He helps people with masculine and feminine communication and exploring how to become trigger proof. And he works with entrepreneurs and coaches as well as it relates to emotional mastery. And we're exploring the concept of submission in the context of a gay relationship. So my other two friends are in a gay relationship. So they're both men. And we were exploring like the polarization of roles in a gay relationship because like you're both men, so like biologically masculine. But one of them adopts the feminine role and one of them will adopt the masculine role in a polarized like dynamic. And we were talking about how there's some resistance to submission. Like it's kind of scary to submit. And Nima does at times some parts work, family constellation therapy. It's like a model for like sort of personifying parts of us so that we can have a conversational relationship with different feelings, different identities, different ways of compartmentalizing our psychology. And um, so he brings forward a part called the part that wants to be told what to do. So in the context of this frame, each of us has a part because each of us has all parts, and that part deeply desires, it's intrinsic to its nature, and it enjoys being told what to do. And I'm sitting with this conversation, like I'm not an active participant, but I'm observing and I'm taking it on in my own way. And what comes up for me in that moment is that I have spent my whole life basically saying, fuck you, dad. Don't tell me what to do. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs can probably resonate with that. It shows up in a bunch of different ways. Like, I'm unemployable. I want to be my own boss. Everyone else is an idiot. I know how to do it right. So all of us have a part that also goes, don't tell me what to do. So we have a part that goes, please tell me what to do. And then we have a part that goes, don't tell me what to do. And I have let the part that says, don't tell me what to do, run my whole life. Hi, I'm Alexander, and you're not going to tell me what to do. That's my identity. I'm ungovernable. I'm an only child. I'm smarter than you. I'm better than you. I'm more of a leader than you. I'm going to do more than you. I'm going to outwork you. Don't tell me what to do. That's been my shtick for most of my life. So when he brings up this part, for the first time in my life, I'm actually curious. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I'll put the part of me, don't tell me what, I'll put that aside, and I'll try this on. I'm going to try on being told what to do. Like, what would that, if I woke up with the identity as being someone who loves being told what to do, how would I think? How would I behave? Right? This is such a cool thought experiment. Like, if there's one thing your listeners take away from this, I'm hoping it's just try on the identity and ask, how would I think? How would I behave? What questions would I ask? How would I see the world? What stories would I tell? And it will dramatically transform your possibilities and your access to your power and potential in life. If that's the only thing you take away, but there's a bunch of stuff you should take away, but that's one. So I adopted the identity. I took it, and I was in this curiosity. We go inside when we do like a hape journey. For those of you listening who don't know what hape is um, like a tobacco snuff that you put into your sinuses, and it sort of kills the amygdala for a minute. And you can have like 15 or 20 minutes of a really deep meditative presence and experience. So I go into this hape experience with this question in my mind. Like, what does it look and feel like to be told what to do? The next question that came up for me in that inquiry was, okay, well, there's a function to being told what to do, which is who's doing the telling. Like, who would I love to tell me what to do? The first answer that came up was no man so far. And then for whatever reason, God popped into my mind. And I've generally not been, for a long time, I was terribly atheistic. Like again, don't tell me what to do. So I was like, no, I'm not even going there. I was like full on bracing. I'm not interested. Don't talk to me about it. Then I became kind of woo, did a bunch of mushrooms and psychedelics and stuff. And, became a lot more curious, but still like having some distance from the God language. But for whatever reason in this moment, like God popped into my mind, and it was like, just like I got hit on the forehead. I was like, oh my God. Because the somatic experience, the truth that became viscerally evident to me in that moment, it was like it took over my whole state of being. was that if there was one person in all of existence who I would truly love to tell me what to do, it's God. And I realized in that moment that I had completely thrown away. I had thrown the baby out with the bathwater. This idea that I could be led by God and be instructed by him towards my destiny. And I had been defiantly refusing to even ask, much less listen. And then it was like a movie scene where somebody's dying and like memories just started flashing through my mind. I remember this moment in the parking lot when I'm like 17 years old having a conversation with my friend, and I'm like, Jennifer's going to become my wife. And I had no idea how. I was certain about it. But in this moment, I'm looking back and I was like, that was God. Like, that I knew that was him. And it was like memory after memory after memory of like 8 or 9 different memories in my life where I just knew something was true. I realized that that was the voice of God telling me what my destiny was, and that I had listened, but I just didn't know that I was submitting to him. And so in that moment, my whole identity changed. I went from like sort of curious, exploratively spiritual to literally, I bowed down in my mind. I was like, I submit to you. Please tell me what to do. And again, that would not have happened if I didn't just step into this identity of being someone who loves being told what to do. And so along with that, like I want to now tie this back to like I need an answer now. I need to figure something out in the next 8 minutes. You don't. You don't. You're being impatient, and you think that you coming up with the answer or demanding petulantly that someone save you from a life full of shit you don't truly want, or people who you don't truly want to be with, customers you don't truly want to serve, a partner you truly don't want to marry, or some other form of previously made decision that was outside of your nature. You're trying to keep alive something that is not congruent with you. And it's incredibly important that you sit and get present and look inside for what's true instead of trying to create distance from what you're terrified of by keeping a machine going that isn't truly you. And if you continue to resist, you will suffer. And there's parts of your life, there's truths that exist that you can see in your mind because you can't circumnavigate something without knowing it exists. You can't walk the edge of a property that hasn't been fenced. You can't avoid something which you cannot see. You cannot hide from something you do not know. And so each of us knows exactly what it is that we're avoiding, and the call for you is to turn towards and face it and tell the truth and gain access to the information and revelation that is encoded in that truth about what it is you truly want that you haven't yet expressed. Because the goal here is not to save you in the next 8 minutes. The goal, whether in the next minute or hour or day or week, is the same goal as always, which is how do I create more of what I want? How do I be more of who do I want to be? It's not how do I get through something I don't want to do and someone I don't want to be to eventually be who I want to be or do what I want to do. Every time you put that in the future, you lose. Every time you put what you want on the other side of what you don't want, you lose. So the call is to submit. Submit to the fact that there's shit about your life that you hate. Submit about how you've programmed yourself into a belief system that says you need to suffer now to win later. Submit to the idea that you are in fact a powerful creator and you have a kinky fetish to make yourself suffer, and until you admit that you enjoy this, you'll never transform it. And when you do that, you will change. And what you really need is a coach who knows what he's doing, and almost none of them do. The coaches you've hired have clearly not solved this problem because they're still encouraging you to step out of your own nature to live a life not by your design. And so hire a coach who can help you. You should probably hire me. um, with all seriousness, there are very few people who will ever help you create a truly meaningful life. There's tons of people who will sell you shovels on the way to the gold mine, but the gold mine probably isn't what you want.
Well said. Well said. I think that is such a great example. and such a great story that you transitioned to really break down that whole process with someone. And it really sounds like you bring a holistic approach, the psychology, the practicality, but mainly this perspective on really diving back into someone's psyche and going within. If our external is a reflection of our internal, then let's start there. And that's what I'm really picking up from what you're saying. And they say the highest frequency is this state of authenticity and being in your nature. And as we step into that and we let go of all the stuff that we've picked up along the lines that we think we should do, but that's actually the hard way, as we get back to that true north, what you're saying is you're going to cut through all the noise, competition, cut through in business, and really welcome in that abundance in all forms. I have
Yeah,
one final question, but before I ask the final question, save the best till last, and you've kind of touched upon it a little bit, but I'd really like you to bring it home, is how can people get in touch with you?
sure. So the easiest thing to do is go to my website, measurablegenius.com. And I'm sure it'll be in the show notes or whatever on this podcast, measurablegenius.com. And there's really three ways that you can step into my world. Number one, if an event is coming up, our next event is December 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's called The Choice. It's a 3-day transformational program for business owners and coaches who want to live a more meaningful, fulfilling life in alignment with their nature and to become the one, become the marketer, become the closer, become the leader their clients need while helping their clients become the people who want to buy their stuff. You should just sign up for that. There's VIP tickets, there's in-studio tickets, there's all kinds of options. Now, if we're between events, we do them every 4 months. We have a program called the Recalibration, which is also on our website, which is a 6-week immersive experience. There's 6 educational modules that explore the foundations of consciousness, values and human behavior, the art of fair exchange, and how to find the fairness in your transactions so you can unlock future potential income. We explore identity transformation and all kinds of really cool stuff that form the basis of how to show up psychologically strong and step into the framework of being a powerful creator and truly stepping into the mechanics of growth. And it includes access to a bunch of our workshops and stuff inside a 90-day period leading up to the choice. So it's a really great offer for people that want to spend immersive time in our container and spend time in our coaching space before committing to a program or something like that. Or if you're feeling called and you know that like I'm the coach for you, you can book a discovery call and we can get you enrolled directly into the accelerator, which is a year-long experience, working with me and my team of world-class coaches. At the time of this recording, we do 6 calls a week. We've got monthly power days. We've got guest workshops and guest lectures. I'm throwing everything at this program to give you as much opportunity as you can to just really be in the transformation of your identity and the exploration of your truth. So, measurablegenius.com, all of those options are available and we would love to help you.
Somewhere around this video, get to Alexander's events, guys. If you resonate with this, if you connect with this, if you're like, this is different, I want to learn more, click on the link, get registered. I'm really excited for you guys to make a transformation with this work. This is by far what I see as the core, the root cause that will create a massive redirection in your life if you're looking for a redirection. So my final question is, if you were to challenge the audience, if you were to challenge them today, this week, this quarter, this year, to do something, to stretch, what is that challenge you'd like to impart to everyone today?
Whew. There is one key significant truth that you wake up and you spend every day of your life hoping you're going to find a way to avoid. It might be that you're terrified because your husband wants you to get pregnant and you're not sure if you want a child. It could be that you are unsure if you want to be in the business partnership you're in or if you're a fit anymore, but you've got a business wrapped around it that you're terrified to lose. It could be that you've got customers you're serving and you avoid Slack and you avoid their messages because you want their money, but you don't really want the responsibility that comes with it. Like, there's some cornerstone primary truth that you're really hoping you're going to somehow fix by fixing your life. You're thinking marketing is going to save you, more money is going to save you, the next customer is going to save you. the next JV partnership is going to save you. Something out there is going to save you from the thing in here. And so I want to give you an exercise because I think a lot of coaches who are impatient in their nature because they're looking to be saved, like really want to rush you into figuring this out. And so I want to take a gentler approach and I want to offer you a model. So if you're listening to this and you want to play along, close your eyes and we're going to do a bit of a mental model. I want you to find yourself standing on a beach. This beach can be anywhere in the world that you love, that feels good to you. And I want you to take a deep breath. And as you breathe in and then breathe out, I want you to see the color of the trees, if they're a deep green or a light green. I want you to look out towards the ocean, and I want you to determine if it is sunrise or sunset, or if it's the middle of the day. If the sky is clear and a deep blue or a light blue, if there's clouds, I want you to imagine if there's a breeze, and I want you to feel the temperature of the wind on your skin. And I want you to now turn from facing the ocean to your right, and I want you to look down the beach into the distance, and I want you to see a figure on the horizon. This is a person. This person represents a part of you, a potential truth, this scary, deeply emotional part that you've been potentially trying to keep at a distance or move away from. But even if you were to walk away from it down the beach, it will follow you. But at this point in time, it is simply on the horizon and you're safe. It's at a distance. This is the law of proximity. It's as far away from you as you need it to be to know that it exists, but not so close that you need to feel that you need to run or shut down or be afraid. The invitation that I have for you is to simply take one step forward towards this figure. Just one step. And as you take this single step towards this figure, I want you to feel what comes up for you in your body. And I want you to pause. The figure will not move. It's waiting for you to approach it. It is not approaching you. And so you are safe, but there's a feeling that appears in your body. And it's that feeling that you truly don't like. And it's that feeling that plays a big part in your fear to approach this figure, this part of you, this belief or this truth that you're afraid of. And what I want from you to do is to simply be with the feeling. I want you to explore where the body shows up in your body, and I want you to put your hand on that location. And I want you to now explore using your attention the edges of this feeling. See if you can just find the edges of the feeling. And as you touch the edges of this feeling in your body, you will find that the edges begin to soften. They change. And as you do the only thing you can truly do with a feeling to help it transform, which is to feel it, it will move through you. It may dissolve. It may change. It may have color or flavor or texture. But as you simply place your attention on this feeling and you feel this feeling, it will slowly but surely fade until such time that it is completely past. Feelings are not meant to be gone around, gone under, gone through, processed, attacked, exiled, changed, avoided, or any other verb. The only thing to be done with this feeling is to feel it. And as you feel it, it moves through. And so your choice in this moment is to decide, would I like to make a daily practice and each day take one step further towards this figure on the horizon, this truth that I'm afraid of? Or would I like to be courageous enough in this moment to take several steps forward, step by step, each step feeling this feeling, allowing it to move through you until you end up face to face with this truth that has been with you the whole time? And in doing so, discover what is truly important to you. This truth means something. It holds encoded information about what it is you truly desire for your life. And so, either today or over time, approach this feeling, approach this truth, and discover what is important to you.
Went there. I hope everyone at home went there as well. That was a beautiful experience. And by far my favorite challenge question answer at the end of the podcast here. So this has been super insightful. I've got literally pages of notes here. Everyone at home, get in touch with Alexander. His link's going to be around here. We're gonna definitely like I can, we shared two or three or maybe four breakthrough moments that you've had. I'm sure we'll get you back another time. But thank you so much for your time. Any final comments?
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to speak to your audience, and it was a lot of fun.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Talk soon.